With a new head coach, Boston College football, you'd be hoping for a big passing attack in this spring season. But on Saturday, it was all run game.
You are Locked On Boston College, your daily podcast on the Boston College Eagles, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Locked On Boston College. I'm your host, AJ Black. Today's episode is brought to you by LinkedIn. These days, every new potential hire can feel like a high-stakes wager for your small business. That's why LinkedIn Jobs help you find the right people for your job in your team faster and for free. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedoncollege. Terms and conditions apply. It's Eclipse Monday here, folks, and we're here to talk about Boston College's, I think it's their third scrimmage of the spring. We're going to look at what happened, give you some big details on that. We're going to also look at a big weekend in terms of visitors. BC had some big names on campus, and I'm not talking about recruits. And finally, the transfer portal, it continues to taketh from basketball. I'll look at what the latest is and what that means for BC. Now, Saturday, Boston College held another scrimmage. Now, the weather was not cooperative. It was supposed to be an alumni stadium, but instead, they packed a large group of people into the Fish Fieldhouse. And to give you some context, I've been at many practices this spring. Usually it's just a couple people hanging around, the recruits. 3 deep, almost the entire run on both sides of the sidelines. It was packed there. And they were there to watch BC football. Now, there were recruits. There was the Gridiron Society. Met some of them there. There was families. There was just a lot of folks there to watch what Bill O'Brien and his team were doing. Now, they had their usual practice. They're doing their warm-ups, their drills. Then they get to the scrimmage. We've seen scrimmages spring. And BC, you're getting some different tastes of what Bill O'Brien is bringing. And my biggest takeaway from this scrimmage was a few things. I'll give you a few of my big takeaways here. One, love the way the running game looks. Now, BC was not playing with Kai Robichaux in this scrimmage. Kai was off to the side working with the trainer. He had not been practicing. Don't know what the situation is there. The team will not talk about what that is. That being said, we did see a healthy dosage of Kansas State running back Trayshawn Ward. Now, Trayshawn Ward is the transfer from Kansas, as I said, from the Wildcats, also from Florida State. He has been playing running back, number 0, and has been very important in the special teams. He's been the kick returner. He had some great runs in this game. Love the way he ran. I love the way the offensive line played, too. Now, the offensive line has been pretty much consistently, your guards being, sorry, I'm totally blanking on the guards right now. Jack Conley and Jude Bowery. No, sorry. Logan Taylor. My brain just went dead. Jack Conley and Logan Taylor. And then you had at tackle, you've had Jude Bowery and Ozzie Trapil. There you go, AJ. You got it. And then your center's been Drew Kendall. They look good. They had some good runs. There was some decent stuffs as well. Interestingly enough, it wasn't just Ward running in this game. We saw, and this is the first time I've watched him with the ones, Catholic Memorial redshirt freshman Datrell Jones. He had some big runs as well. I thought he did a really nice job with some big physical runs in this game. Now, he got strip sacked, and I think it was Cam Arnold that got him for a strip, not for a strip sack, for a strip for a fumble. So, yeah, not perfect, but he also had some good runs in there as well. Now, the names you want to watch for defensively, saw Carter Davis and KP Price also make some big plays. There was some big plays as well, as I said, from Cam Arnold. And in terms of how Thomas Castellanos looked, I thought he did pretty well. Again, I've said this all along this spring. Castellanos has been asked to throw the ball more. He has not been running. I saw him run quite a few times, but it's not like last year where it was like read, run, read, run. he was trying to make more of his passes, and I thought he made a couple of really good longer passes. He threw a touchdown pass to Jaden Skeet at one point. He threw a nice seam down the middle at one point as well. So he had some good plays. We saw the defense, the second and third team defense, I thought, kicked the offense's butt at times. Both Grayson James and Matt Reevy and Jacoby Robinson, so second, third, and fourth, they got sacked at different times, especially the third and fourth team. Saw Robinson struggle a little bit. Now, folks have been asking me about Jacoby Robinson, the quarterback. He's true redshirt freshman. He's going to be behind Grayson James. Grayson James is the transfer from FIU. I think Grayson James is going to be your second quarterback, as I said on Friday's show. Defensively, it's great that we've seen Bryce Steele back. He is without his yellow penny. That means he's out there full steam now. That's huge. That's giving you a new linebacker back. It's like basically going out in the transfer portal and get you a linebacker, but one that can run like a 4.5. He's got really good speed. That's good. Loved his play in this game. And I saw some good bursts from guys like Gilbert Tongrangu, who is a defensive end. I think he's a sophomore now, and he was playing with the second team. But you guys have been asking about young depth. You got it right there, and I will sing praises of Sayoni Hala a lot. I like the way this kid looks. I think he's going to be something special. He's a linebacker safety. He's been playing with the linebackers right now. He's with the second team, but there's something there with that kid. And I think there's something special BC's got. Now, in our second segment, it wasn't just the practice that was there. This spring practice was a special event, and I'll explain why in just a moment. When you're hiring for your small business, you want to find quality professionals that are right for the role. That's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs has the tools to help you find the right professionals for your team faster and for free. LinkedIn isn't just another job board. LinkedIn has a vast network of more than 1 billion professionals, which makes it the best place to hire. It gives you access to professionals you can't find anywhere else. LinkedIn does all that while making the process easy and intuitive. Hiring is easy when you have that many quality candidates. So easy, in fact, that 86% of small businesses get a qualified candidate within 24 hours. LinkedIn knows that small businesses are wearing so many hats and might not have the time or resources to hire, so they make it easy for you. All you need to do is post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedoncollege. That's linkedin.com/lockedoncollege to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. This is Locked On BC, AJ Black. We just kind of did a brief summary of the spring scrimmage at BC. Now there's going to be another one on Saturday for the Jay McGillis game. And if you heard Bill O'Brien's press conference after Saturday's practice, it's going to be mimicking a lot of what the press has been able to see over the last 3 or 4 weeks. You're going to see some game time drills, like you'll see like actual scrimmaging. You'll also see some situational stuff. This is stuff that Halfley did too, so it's not that different. But it sounds like Bill O'Brien's going to be on a microphone and explaining to the crowd what he's going to be doing. So he really wants a large group at this spring game. So if you're available on Saturday at noon, make sure you head to Alumni Stadium, check out that game. Now, at practice last Saturday, it was, I said, there was, I think, 75 plus recruits. I wrote up the recruiting list for Eagle Insider, and it took me over an hour and a half. It was just like constantly like writing and doing things. They had people from all over the country there, from as far as California, Wyoming, important one to watch for, and then some of the Northeast kids. There was kids from all over, and many left with offers. Not that being said, there were a lot of famous players and former players at practice as well. Now, if you're on YouTube right now, you can see the most famous one who was right near me, and that was quarterback Matt Ryan. Former NFL MVP Matt Ryan was at practice. He spoke to the team before practice. He spoke to the quarterbacks at one point too, because as you can see in the picture, he was in the quarterback rooms with Jonathan Dabiasso and his quarterbacks, talking to them about, he didn't really get into what it was, but you had him there. You also had at practice Celtics head coach Joe Mazzulla. Sorry, got his name wrong. Joe Mazzulla of the Celtics. Not a BC grad, but he was there. He knows Bill O'Brien because I guess he came to some Patriots practices last year, and Bill invited him there. He spoke after practice, as you can see in that picture, to the team. And he talked about the importance of mentality, what it means to be a winner, how you can get over that hump. You had him there. You had Gosder Cherelis at practice. Gosder Cherelis, a former Boston College NFL offensive lineman and NFL player. You had Pete Kendall there, which is not that big of a shocker because his son plays for him. But you also I don't know when he was there. I haven't talked to the staff to find out. But Scott Pioli, one of the former executives that was integral in some of the early New England Patriots success, he was there. This is running up to be a giant list of who's who in sports that have been checking out Boston College. And what this is doing, it's not just a cool wow factor. It's creating a buzz around this program and giving the feeling that Boston College football is a big deal. When you can parade in and out these big names week after week, you are showcasing that this program isn't just some podunk, bottom of the ACC bottom feeder. You're bringing in, the best NBA coach right now that's probably going to be NBA coach of the year. You're bringing in NFL MVPs. You're bringing in, there's been guys from weeks on weeks. They brought in Ernie Adams last week. And Savon Huggins is teasing that there's someone even bigger coming for Saturday's game. Will it be Tom Brady? Probably not. Will it be Bill Belichick? Oh, who knows? Most likely, will it be Luke Kuechly? He's going to be at the Friends of the Heights event, so maybe it'll be him. Maybe it'll be more. But what this is doing, people are buzzing and talking about this. When you start to talk to some random folks that see BC football on Twitter or on Facebook, and they're like, oh, wow, Jolie Mazzulla was there. Oh, Matt Ryan's back. That makes you feel like this program is bigger. And when I go to practice and I can't even move around, like sometimes I could, most of practice, I'm able to run around and get to everything because there's so many people there. It's starting to feel like an event. It's starting to feel like Bill O'Brien has brought some energy, some life into this program, and he's doing it in a lot of different ways, whether it's on the field, whether it's through recruiting, and whether it's just the aura around the program. It feels big. Jeff Hafley did have guys come back and talk at practice and things like that. I'm not saying he didn't, but I have seen more big names come through Chestnut Hill in the last 2 weeks than I think I saw during 4 years of Hafley. And some of that is just the pedigree of bringing in a head coach like Bill O'Brien. He knows guys. He knows Joe Mazzulla. He's practiced against Matt Ryan. He has, Ernie Adams, he had an office across the street from. Across the hallway from. It all connects. But in the end, it gets other folks excited. They want to know who's going to be the next guy at practice. When you have, and I could tell you, well, go back to Matt Ryan for a second, right? Matt Ryan was at practice on Saturday, and I saw after practice Will Wood, who I think is a quarterback 2027 from Zavarian Brothers, obviously a big high school in Massachusetts. And Will Woods did the whole, it's great to be at practice. There was a ton of local kids there, but he's a quarterback that's going to get a lot of attention. And his picture at BC was him with Matt Ryan. When you have him there, you have a guy like Mason Drewby, I think I'm saying his name right, a 25 quarterback from Wyoming, who is getting a lot more attention with offers from Michigan State and a bunch of other Power 5 programs who just got a huge, great scouting report on Eagle Insider. He comes and he visits and he meets an NFL MVP at practice. What kind of aura is that building for recruits? When practices are packed, what is that showing players that are there? It's showing everyone around this program that BC is becoming much more entrenched. They're becoming a bigger program, and that can only be a good thing. Stay tuned because I can't wait to see who's going to be at that spring game on Saturday. We'll have all that on Monday's show, believe me. Now, in our final segment, we're going to switch over to basketball, who lost 3 more players to the transfer portal. I'll get into it, and I'll get into just a brief kind of what they've lost and where does it go from here. We'll get into all of that in just a moment. This is Locked On Boston College. I am your host, AJ Black. I'm the editor of Eagle Insider. Please come join me over there. We have a great community of fans. We have great insight and analysis on everything from football to baseball to basketball to hockey to I'm sure I'm missing something. Recruiting. We got everything over there. Check it out. It's amazing. So check that out. Now, this weekend was it seemed like it was all bad news for BC basketball, as 3 more players in the last 72 hours have entered the transfer portal. Now, last week we got the first bad news, Jaden Zachary. Now, I was not surprised. I've heard buzz that he was going to be entering the transfer portal. That one out of all these 4 is going to hurt the most. I'm going to tell you that right off the bat, because he embodied Boston College the most, I think, of all the 4 players that are there. And he's going to be the most missed. But the first player to enter the portal, and I think the biggest surprise of the portal entries is Claudell Harris Jr. Now, Claudell Harris Jr. just got to campus last year. He was a sophomore entering his junior year after playing at Charleston Southern, a scorer, outside shooter. He just played his first year here. It seemed like things were going okay. Now, he had his moments. There was a good chunk of that middle of that ACC play where he couldn't hit the broadside of a barn. But there were also times where his shooting got BC out of some frigid shooting slumps. So the fact that he's leaving was the biggest surprise. I did not see this one coming. I figured, honestly, I was a little bit worried he was coming back and then his game would not transfer into or translate into a team that didn't have another scorer. I was more worried that we'd be watching him play hero ball all next year and we'd have some really ugly losses because there was no one around him. That was the first loss. Now, the second loss was one that it stings in one way, but in the other, it's I don't think it's the worst. And that's Prince Aligbe. Prince Aligbe is from Minnehaha, and I have said I love saying that academy name for years. He's a sophomore. Remember, he came in, he was a 4-star recruit according to 247. He played at Minnehaha Academy with some great college basketball players. What was his name? Jalen Suggs, I believe it was, who's now in the NBA. You got some great talent around him. You think he's a 4-star. He plays the wing. He's 6'7". And then he comes in the first game. I think it was against Cornell last year. He hits the game-winning shot with 0.09 seconds or 0.9 seconds remaining. And you're like, ooh, BC's got something here. This year was not good to Prince Aligbe. By the end of the year, his minutes were cut drastically as his offensive game was exposed. Defenses, basically left him alone outside of like 11 feet out. Like they just dared him to shoot because they knew he couldn't do it. And he was basically minimized. And by the end of the year, he was benched in favor for a three guard offense. You saw more Mason Madsen out there as a starter than Aligbe. So I could see his frustration. Like to me, Aligbe of any of these 3 just screamed, I need a new fresh start somewhere else. Like I need to get like my head straight. And I'm not sure, not in that sense, but like he just needs to like wipe everything clean and start somewhere else. And for BC, like he wasn't doing much. Like his offensive game was incredibly limited. He had some troubles on the defensive end. He could rebound at times, but he wasn't complete. He didn't seem like a complete ACC player by the time the season ended. And it was a bummer because there was a lot of buzz around him and it just did not work out. And then your final player that just entered right before the solar eclipse today was Mason Madsen, which I've heard about from a couple sources of mine. This was in the works for a while. This one stings a little bit more than I thought it would because he came in last year as a transfer from Cincinnati. They brought him in because he could shoot. He could be your outside shooter, and he struggled. And he just was not. He was more of a liability at times than he was a help. And we find out after the season, he had an autoimmune disorder that caused inflammation in his joints. He gets medication, he gets therapy or whatever he got to work through it. And all of a sudden this year, it's like a brand new player. He shot 37% from 3-point range. He had 8.5 points per game. By the end of the year, I mean, he had that game against Miami where he was on fire. I think he went 7 for 12 from 3-point range. You know, he was a BC guy too. I'm not sure why he's transferring. Maybe he's going to go play. I think he's got a twin brother at Utah. I don't know if it's twin or just a brother. He's got a brother at Utah. This one stings a little bit too. Now, tomorrow's show, or we're going to record later tonight. So if you'll have it on tomorrow morning's feed. I'm going to look at what does BC do from here. You're down 4 players now. You're down some of Devin McLaughlin is basically your only scorer left. Is BC doomed, or can Earl Grant and, more importantly, the Friends of the Heights, are they going to be able to lure in enough talent to make BC basketball competitive next year? We'll look at all of that on tomorrow's show. Thank you all so much for listening. This is AJ Black. I hope you did not look at the eclipse with your sunglasses off. If not, you can't be watching this on YouTube right now because your eyes probably hurt. Thank you all. Follow me on Twitter at AJBlack247. Check out Eagle Insider. Hit the like and subscribe button. Give us 5 stars if you're on a podcast app. And thank you all for making us your daily Boston College podcast, because we're Locked On BC, your team every day.